Hey everyone, welcome to Relationship Matters Mailbag. That's right, I said mailbag and Relationship Matters in the same line. I am so excited. We're starting a new project in partnership with Drew Stevens at Beyond the Legacy. And we just felt, both of us, right, Drew, we kind of had it in our hearts to do this. And we're going to tell you about that in a minute. In case you don't know, I'm Mark Gordon. I wrote a book called Relationship Matters, and I do a lot of workshops and speaking, and I also am a relationship coach. I call myself a relationship catalyst because I really believe that relationships are super important, and we're going to talk about that just in a few minutes. And I've devoted my life to helping people have healthy relationships. Drew, why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Drew Stevens. I'm the founder of Beyond the Legacy. I am a writer, an author, and a creator. I actually do some professional consulting as well. The most recent publication I put out there to the world is my Journal of Personal Impact. It's a self-reflection journal by Beyond the Legacy.
That's awesome. And it is a great journal because it doesn't go on timelines. It goes on subjects and heart matters. And I really like that. So you might be asking yourself, well, why are these two guys showing up on my screen here? I really believe everything flows out of relationship. And I'm really concerned about relationship crisis that's going on, Drew. Like, I'm seeing it everywhere. The clients I'm dealing with, but also just in social media, in people I'm meeting. They're usually summer slows down a little bit for my company, and it's escalating because there's so much crisis. I think COVID was a huge contributor to that, and maybe some of the other political matters that are going on. And I just think that people don't know where to turn for help concerning relationships, or they might have questions that they are scared to ask, because if they actually ask in somebody they know or whatever, it could reveal what's going on beneath the surface. A lot of people are very private about their relationships, especially the most personal ones. And so we thought, Drew and I were talking, we thought, well, why don't we just create a space where people can ask questions?
Yes. So I was on Mark's show, his LiveCast, and we just had a really good conversation about legacy and relationships. And we are talking about his book, Relationship Matters. We were talking about my journal. And I just said, Mark, wouldn't it be great? You have some downtime. I know you're sort of taking a little hiatus from your live cast. I said, well, why don't we take some questions from our communities, both our communities, your community, my community, and people beyond our communities around relationships, and also how relationships could affect your legacy. So that's the marriage, that's the bridge, that's the connector. Let's do it.
It's so true, Drew, because relationships can affect our legacy. They can take us off our purpose in life. Sometimes I always say the relationships can be the greatest thing in your life, or it can be the worst thing in your life. And so when they're not healthy, it can really affect your ability to leave a legacy. The fact is, I think you and I talked about it. It's like, we all leave a legacy, whether we realize it or not. And I would rather leave an intentionally good one than not a good one. And I think it starts with relationship. And so relationship with ourselves, and then relationship with others. And so, yeah, I'm excited about this project because I think that it'll give up people an opportunity to ask questions maybe they're scared to ask somewhere else, and they can do it in complete anonymity. Or if they're really bold, maybe they want to come on and talk to us live, and we do want, they can come and we can tackle a question with them right on here with us. So how are people going to proceed to ask these questions? What are they going to do?
We're going to create a form, and this form is going to be in the comments below. So you'll be able to drop your anonymous question or your question tied to your name, and obviously you want to be shouted out on the actual next show or future show that we do. And you can even probably just DM us too, like obviously on our Instagram, Facebook. You can shoot us a private DM, and we can include, and you can just let us know if you want your name included or if you want to be private. Yeah. At the end of the day, we're looking for themes. We're looking for themes and topics that we can talk about for 25, 30-minute blocks. It's going to be organic conversation. It's going to be just Mark giving his expertise. I'm going to be weighing in from my point of view. Obviously, we come from a very diverse walk of life in terms of both of us. And I think the two of us have really good chemistry when we're together. So it's going to be fun conversations. It's going to be something that you can just plug and listen to while you're in the car, while you're, cleaning around the house or doing some chores or running around. So there's no excuse. You can definitely lock in and check us for 30 minutes. But I think the most important thing to realize is this. Ultimately, we're here to have these conversations. You know, whether you're the voyeur that's just going to listen in and maybe never engage with us and comment, that's perfectly fine. Like, we want people to hear different point of views. We want people to create conversation from this live cast or this podcast that we're going to be doing as well.
Yeah, for sure. And they can even weigh in on through the comments and whatnot. You can weigh in with what your thoughts are, what's your experiences, what's your opinion. Maybe you've got something. I always say we're all teachers and we're all students, right? So maybe somebody has an insight that would be really helpful, or a story that would be really helpful. So we want you to also, contribute that way, be part of this conversation. We got to have this conversation about relationships, because they do affect our lives whether we think they do or not. And so it's really important, I think, to start this conversation up. So it's a summer project. We're going to try it over the summer here and see how it goes. And you know what, if you make it so that the demand is great, then we'll maybe talk about keeping going. But for the summer, this is a project. We thought this is a great time for people to be reflecting. Maybe they take holidays and they're kind of start to think about their relationships and whatnot. And you might have a question that you need to ask. And so I'm excited for the project.
So can we give them a little sneak peek of what they might expect? Like, what
sure.
type of themes or topics? Like, obviously, the one I think we're probably going to definitely do is having a relationship with ourselves, right? Like, how important that is as a starting point, as a foundation. What are some of the things you're thinking that will be probably themes or topics we're going to dive into? I know there's a few in mind that you have, we talked about.
Well, I know that broken trust is huge. I think people really struggle with trust. I know, man, I can't tell you how many people I meet that just say they don't trust anybody. And a lot of times those people don't trust themselves either. And so I think that trust breaches have really caused a lot of damage in relationships. I think communication's a huge subject matter. I think just this week alone, I've had multiple conversations with people about communication and the lack thereof, or miscommunication, and how it can impact a relationship super negatively. And in one case, it was the silent treatment. So they were communicating, but they didn't think they were. They said, well, I didn't say anything. Well, yeah, you did. By your silence, you're saying something. And so we could dive into communication a little bit and find out what are some real practical tips on how to bring up a tough subject. I think another one is conflict resolution. We have so much conflict in the world today. I think we could be talking about things like that. So maybe you've had a conflict and you don't know how to get out of it. You might be right in the middle of it and you don't know how to solve it, and you're hurting and you're not sure what steps to take. Send us the question around that. We can talk into that. We could speak into that for sure.
And I think the beauty too, what they're going to see is we're going to dive into this on a personal level and on the professional level. So no matter what side you're sitting on in terms of one or the other or both, like, we're going to dive into colleagues and coworkers and those professional relationships, but also personal relationships, friendships, and marriages, and everything in between. So, there's going to be a theme or something that resonates with hopefully someone, and if not, you hopefully could bump into someone like, hey, this is something good you got to listen to. So, I would say,
I think we're gonna, we can go anywhere. Make the questions tough. Don't worry about if they're hard or not. We'll do our best to tackle them. And of course, it's, a lot of times it's very individual situations. You can't always, so we'll probably tend towards like principles that we've proven principles that work, and that kind of stuff, unless we know what the personal situation is. So we're not Dear Abby in the sense of that we, if we don't know your situation, our advice has to be principle based. I can't really tell you because I don't know who you're talking about in that question, but there are some deep things we can go into, like how do you recover from infidelity? How can you save a marriage? I've seen many marriages actually overcome and have a better marriage afterwards. But the train of thought out there is that that's it, it's finished. And so, there's all kinds of deep subjects out there about relationships. And like I say, relationships can be your greatest joy or they can be your greatest pain. And so we want to make sure that they're healthy. There's no perfect relationship. And so how do you have healthy ones? And how do we do our best? I think that's the question, Drew.
Okay. Well, I would say to all, like, if you made it this far without scrolling or flipping away from this video that you're watching
Yeah.
here, and obviously you finished this video and you're watching us, thank you. And we look forward to seeing you real soon.
Yeah. See you soon.